All right, there we go. It's going to go out for just a second when I pull away from the house. So bear with me. Gotta wait a little minute. It's going to go out. By the time I get to this, there we go. We should be back. If you can hear me, clap once. If you can hear me, clap once. Okay, perfect. Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Here's the joy of having your own platform where you can talk about whatever the hell you want to talk about when you want to talk about it, and you don't have to hold it in and cause it and have it. I'm going to say, well, it doesn't stress you out, but yeah, you can choose to turn it into content where you are fully monetized and you can make money off of bull crap that happens because you've put in the work to be fully monetized. So when ish happens, it's great having a platform where you're fully monetizing. Yeah, like I said, you can make content. I can just talk about it. I don't get people on the internet. I really don't. I really, really don't. It's like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. You literally cannot be a Black educated woman in this world who knows a little bit about a lot of it in this world without people being offended about something, especially in this craft world, which is why sometimes I cannot stand it. Sometimes you have this feeling of, where people be like, how some folk who are the R word and they kind of tell people, well, leave this country, go back to your own country, go back to where you came from. It's almost like, where people will probably like, well, if you don't like it so much, why are you in it? I like the creative space. But just like with anything, some people make it very difficult to enjoy being in it sometimes because it's like, dude, shut the hell up. If you don't like me, just say that. If you see my name come up, bypass that ish. Block, like every social media site has this little thing called block. Boo Boo Kitty, I'm not blocking you because I don't have a problem. Like it doesn't, like no one on these apps, it's like that much energy to where I'm going to block you like that unless you're just straight up like evil and you just do some straight up nasty, like ridiculous things. But I'm not about to go through that. And I'm not going back and forth with something to where I'm going to like initiate something and like something to where you just like really, really like irk every part of my being to where I would like be forced to like block you. Like if it really affected like my mental, or unless of course it was like a court order or something like that. I'm just not. But if you feel the need to comment to disprove something that someone says whenever they type it, then obviously you have a problem with that person. And you need to not you need to not see anything that they say. Like there's several people that are like that when it comes to my content, things that I post. And it's like, girl, get a freaking grip. Get a freaking grip. One, I need for the human race to realize that everybody has different experiences in this world, and what one person knows to be true or experiences to be true might be different for someone else. Things also change at the speed of light in this world. So what may have been true in one moment may now be different. How one person interprets something, somebody else is going to interpret a different way. Dude, if it don't apply to you, let that shit fly. Like, it ain't that freaking serious. Then it's like, you literally write stuff, and then somebody comes behind and says the exact same thing that you said. And it's like, did you just not read what I said? Or it's like, because it's my name, you just want to say something just to say it. And that's literally the exact same thing that I just said. I'm so confused as to why we are going back and forth when that is literally the thing that I just said. I was confused. Why are people like this? Why? Why do you have a problem with my skill level? Why do you have a problem with the level of knowledge that I have? Why do you have a problem with the level of expertise that I have? Why do you have a problem with the level of help that I provide? Why do you have a problem with me answering questions? And then you're going to go and say that my answer is wrong, and then you're not even providing an answer. You're going to tell them, oh, go check this. If you don't have an answer, how are you going to say that my answer is wrong, but then don't even provide a valid answer? Shut the hell up. What the freak is wrong with people? I'm so, if you don't like me, just say that shit. I respect you more. I'm not gonna block you. I'm not gonna not like you because you don't like me. I'm just like, all right, cool. She don't like me. The hell you want me to do? Now, there are some people that I just don't F with. I don't like you. Hell, I'll say if I don't care for you. I don't care for your ways. Hell, I've said it openly, publicly about people. And it's like, hey, it is what it is. Hell, there's people on this app I don't F with. And I still ain't went through the process of blocking them because it ain't worth it. I just don't bother to engage with them. Like, it ain't worth it. Like, I'm not gonna go and comment on their stuff and da 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 da. When they say some ish that's like, I know it's some bullshit, I just laugh at it. Hell, I might screenshot it. I might send it to the people that I actually care to engage with, and we gonna have a little kiki ha ha about it. But I'm not going to engage with the person that I know I don't F with. If you don't F with the person, why are you in? I don't get that. That is weird. Like, that is weird to me that you literally have a need to, like, to prove a person wrong, or to want, like, to, I just don't get it. Why would you want to interact with someone you obviously have a disdain for? Why? Why are people like this? And then there's a very big difference between not using or not doing something and not having a preference for something. Everybody and their mama know I am a silhouette girl. I'm a silhouette girl for the past 12 years. Before that, I was heavily an Adobe and a Corel Draw girl. I've told my story. I learned Adobe, Photoshop, and Illustrator in high school, Barbara Altman Senior High School. Also knew all of the Microsoft stuff. Most people here would not even know what Microsoft Access was, especially the folk who coming at me crazy. Okay? Little young, like, probably even know what the hell Microsoft Access is. I've built databases. I'm sorry that I'm a nerd. Excuse me for being a freaking geek. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that my geekiness offends you, but I'm not sorry. So I grew up in that era. I'm sorry that I grew up in an era where we did not have all this internet stuff, like it is now, and you have all these damn distractions. And I'm sorry that I'm a girl that grew up reading freaking dictionaries, thesauruses, and freaking encyclopedias and almanacs. I'm sorry that I'm a freaking geek and I like research. I'm sorry that I have a spirit of servitude and I like to help. I'm sorry that I like answering questions. And I'm sorry that that offends you, that I like answering questions. That when you see my name and I'm answering someone's question, that you're offended and you have a problem that I'm always answering questions. Trick, why does that bother you so much? You should be asking yourself, why does someone providing help based off of the knowledge base that they have, why does that bother you so much? Obviously, because you have a problem with me. If you got a problem with me, just say that shit with your chest. Like, what the hell? Oh, it's not a real apology. I'm being very, very, it's not a real apology. Like, really not apologizing. They have to like drama. They have to. If I answered it wrong, according to them, it's fine. And that's one thing too. If it was wrong, I have never been a person that doesn't admit if an answer was wrong. If something has changed, if it wasn't like when it came to like a printer. Oh yeah, I did forget about that printer. Okay, that one does do that. Okay, like someone said, which I'm still like, I would love to see it. I have never seen somebody said that they are able to put the roll of sublimation paper in an Epson 15,000 and in an Epson 8550, and that it stops, that it operates like a true roll to roll. I personally have used a lot of Epson like desktop printers. And when I put the roll, like in my workforce, that ish kept going. It doesn't stop because it has a mechanism where it's meant to pick up paper. Whenever there is paper in there, it registers as a paper jam because it's meant to pick up paper. It's not meant to always have paper in there. If there is paper already in the feed of any desktop printer, it will register as a paper jam. That is what I have known of every single desktop sheet fed printer. Yet, someone said in a group that they feed their full roll of paper through the 8550. Now, I don't own an 8550. So if that is true of an 8550, hey, if I was wrong in that, I'm wrong in that. Maybe the 8550 works differently than every single sheet fed printer on the market, because I know sheet fed printers. And for sheet fed printers, they are 1-to-1. And if a sheet of paper is already in that area, it instantly reads as a paper jam, which is why we get paper jams. Something is in there. So then, if that was the case and it would just pick up, that means your printer would never read a paper jam. But someone says, but I've never seen it. So somebody said they do it. Where's the video evidence? I've never seen anyone put a roll of paper and it feeds and it stops. So they said they feed it through they cut it off. So then when it comes to the next print, are you having to take it out and load it back? Because then that defeats the purpose. And you might as well just pre-cut it if you have to still take it out and put it back in. Because that's the part that they're not saying. So I'm like, am I technically wrong in saying that you have to cut it down? Because I said you have to cut your paper down. It's not a roll printer. It's a sheet fed printer. And with sheet fed printers, you can't just put a roll there and just have it continuously print. It doesn't pick up where it left off and just will continue to print. I don't know of any sheet fed printers. Oh, baby, they swell me up and down. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. All right, cool. So I can, okay, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the 8550 is that one printer that is different. When it comes to stuff like that, I concede to it. All right, then, I guess I'm wrong about this. Ain't nobody showed me anything different than what I know is what I know about how printers work. So many crafters or so many people in this industry because they get one printer. Printers are not cheap. I am not a person that has experience with one printer. I have experienced Canon printers, Epson printers, HP printers, Lexmark printers. I'm sorry, son. Hi, son.
We did correct. Baby got my correct.
Bailey got theirs correct or yours correct?
Yeah, mine look correct.
Oh, y'all changed papers to see who got it correct?
Yeah.
Oh, and Bailey marked yours correct?
Yeah, I did got that. I did got no buckle. Did got no buckle.
Oh. Okay, hold on one second, buddy. Anywho, so anyway, it's like, even if someone is like, let's say somebody's wrong about something, right? It's all also in how you say it. Like, so if I answer a question off, like based off of what I know to be true, it can either be like a follow-up question or, like something like, okay, well, I read this or whatever. But to literally come at me and it's like, to go and say, like, she basically said, oh, you think you know it all, or you so quick to answer. No, I think her comment was, you don't even use Canva. How can you answer it? And this is my whole thing is, there is a difference between, and I told her, there's a difference between being a preference and using it. Baby, I could probably run circles around anybody that wants to use Canva. I cannot stand the interface of Canva, how you maneuver through Canva, how you have to select things with Canva. I get the ease of it. People like that you can use it on your phone, you can use it on a computer. Using it on a computer, it's a little bit better because you can drag and select. I don't like how you have to how you use Zoom, how you have to move things around. I like to pan, to move in on certain things and isolate it. So there is a way that I prefer to design. Other programs allow me to zoom in and isolate the area that I want to focus in on. You can't do that, at times when it comes to Canva. So it is a design preference, but I use it a lot. Hell, I literally have modules of it in my Creative Business Accelerator program. I choose not to create customized designs with it for shirts and tumblers, yard signs, and this, that, and the third. I choose not to use it as my primary design platform for that. There are some, they want to use one program for everything. Me being in business and in business for years, just like with any major corporation, you will know it is not smart to put all of your eggs, the same, in one basket. No major corporation will ever rely on one platform for all of their business needs, because if it goes down and you've tied everything into that one, you are putting your entire business in that one program. That is one of the dumbest things. And I know that's a very strong word, and y'all don't like to be called dumb. I was told don't say that to grown people. And that is the problem, because we're grown. And it's like, don't talk to grown people that way. Who are you? I'm sorry. It's a word that's in the dictionary. It's there for a reason. It doesn't matter if you are an adult, if you are a kid, if you are this, if you are that. Dumb is dumb. It has no respect of person or thing. If it's dumb, it's dumb. Having all of your eggs in one basket, where you are doing all of your marketing, you are doing all of your design for your business, you are doing everything, your ebooks, your this, your that, all for one platform. If it goes down, your entire business goes down with it. That ish is dumb. It is dumb. It is dumb. It is dumb. And I will say it until my last breath, that if you are putting everything into one program and you are saying you are running a business, you are making the worst decision. You are thinking like a hobbyist. You are thinking like just a crafter. If you are putting everything for your business in just one platform when it comes to Canva. When it comes to, I literally just had this conversation with one of my mentees. When it comes to your streams of income, if all of your money is flowing through one platform, if something happens with that one platform, all of your money is tied into that. If all of your money is going through one bank, if something happens with that, all of your money is tied up into it. Never, if you are doing business, nothing in your business should rely on one outlet or one inlet. Never, ever, ever, ever in business. Any major corporation. And that is the difference between me and a lot of coaches and all those different things. I have learned these principles from being on the inside of actual corporations. There are not very many. Only the person one other person that I know that has been on the inside, I mean deep into the belly of major corporations, would be Pasquale. That is one of the only other people that I know I can talk business and I can talk craft with, is Pasquale, because she has been in the belly of corporate and understands that you can't run business how a lot of crafters run business and how a lot of craft coaches run business, because they teach you to run it one way. They talk about streams of income, but they also still tie all of those streams into one thing. So although I do not use Canva to create my custom designs, I know Canva. I know I don't use Cricut, but ask me how many one-on-one sessions I've done to teach people how to use Cricut. On the one-on-one side, I probably make more money teaching Cricut users than I do Silhouette users, because I'm that good. So I know Cricut Design Space. I know Silhouette. I know the Photoshop. I know Adobe products, Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign. There's also other ones. Those are not that's all because it's all people talk about. There's InDesign, there's Lightroom, there's Muse. There's a whole bunch of other applications within Adobe that most crafters have never even looked at those. They pay for Suite and have never even looked at any of those applications. I've used Corel Draw. Then when it comes to things like Well, VersaWorks is really more of like a RIP software. Do I prefer Affinity? No. But when I've had to go into Affinity to show people how to use it, it might take me a little minute to remember where things are and stuff, but I remember how to do it. Just had to do that with a one-on-one student who has a commercialized printer, and they had to kind of go through some things in there because that's the program that they had. So it took me a little minute to remember how to do it. But because I know graphic designing and I understand graphic designing, no program stops me. All I have to just figure out is what that function is, where is that tool that does that, and I can figure it out. So to tell me you don't even use Canva, how you gonna tell somebody something about Canva? I don't prefer Canva. That's a big difference. Then I don't use it. I can use it for marketing. I've said it. Oh, baby, it's a great marketing tool. Creating Facebook posts. I'm teaching to my students about how to use it for marketing and branding, for downloads and using it for hyperlinks, for presentations. I was a PowerPoint girl, but baby, I will say using slides from Canva. Oh, ask my creative accelerator students, baby. Them slides be on point. Slides be A1, top notch. Being able to add the motion to it, top notch slides in the Creative Business Accelerator program. Oh yes, God. Okay. The way that I turned simple, just showed them that taking simple pictures and transformed them, had their minds blown last week with what I did in Canva. Oh, baby, I can work a Canva. It's just not a preference for designs. But baby, if you don't like me, just say that. If you're not trying to get to know me, you've never even taken a class, just say that. If my intelligence offends you, just say that. But don't say what I don't know, because you obviously don't know me. Oh yeah, you probably did see it. And I'm just like, I'm sorry, I'm not understanding what the issue is here. Because based off of the way the post was, how I read that. See, here's the other thing, right? So it's like damned if I do, damned if I don't. I can't win for losing, because normally when I read a post, right, I am a questions person, which is why I think I get kind of in my feelings when I do Q&As and people don't ask questions, because I'm looking for me and other people. I'm a very inquisitive person, and I'm so used to asking questions. This is going to cut off again because I should be connecting to the Wi-Fi. So if it does, be patient. It'll come back on. So I'm an inquisitive person. So you want to go in the house? I'm going to sit here for a second. You can go play with your toys and go get your snack. Well, no, you can't get your snack. You gotta wait for me. But you can go in. You don't want to go in the house? I'm gonna finish up here, and then I'm gonna come in. You want to stay here? Mm-hmm. Okay. I told you I was gonna go out. I will normally follow up with a question before I answer it, because I like clarity. Well, this time I did not, right? I took the post for face value, and I just answered it based off of what I knew to be true, based off of how I interpreted the post. And so I assumed that the person was asking about, because now with Canva, you can set up actual websites via Canva. So they're making it easier for people to have a web presence. This is something that I have said for many, many years. I am not new to this, where some people, this is a new messaging for them. This is a message that I have preached for many, many, many years. Anyone that is in business or thinking about getting into business, you should have a web presence. Do you need an e-commerce site? Absolutely not. Not everybody needs an e-commerce site, but everybody needs a web presence. Whether you are going to start that web presence with a strong social media, or you're going to actually have a one-page site that states who you are, what you do, who you service, and what area that you service. I do believe that everyone should start off local, then focus on regional, then you can focus on going national, and how some of y'all say global, which y'all ain't ready for global. Y'all don't even know how to price for your own area, let alone global. Y'all do not know how to package properly to ship it up the street without it being broken. Y'all damn sure don't know how to price to ship across seas. Don't know the first thing about customs and what all it takes. Some of y'all, if you tried to ship internationally, you gonna think you're gonna ship like you would a package going across the state, across the country, and you're gonna package it up. But when it comes to international, you technically need to leave that box open because it has to be checked. It's not sealed until it is checked and you have your customs forms. But guess what? Because y'all don't get the proper training, because you're going to classes and with people because y'all are intimidated by someone who is a know-it-all. Y'all don't like the know-it-alls, but the know-it-alls have the information that you need because they have injected themselves in this. They are obsessed with information and they're getting the information, and they make sure that even if they don't do certain things, that they get the information, they can properly teach it. So when something happens and you go and you send something and they're like, "Ooh, this box looks like it's been open," and you're like, "Oh, but it wasn't because I know that I closed it," and da 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 da. Oh, no, it was open because if you send anything international, when it gets to that station, they're going to open it because they have to check it because of customs, and then it's resealed, and then they're sending you that picture and you're blaming your customer like, "Oh, I didn't send it that way. That's not the tape that I put on there," because you don't understand how it works when you send stuff international because you're global, but you don't understand the process. Oh, okay. My bad, but y'all don't want to learn from the know-it-all, and then you're blaming your customer and you're wondering why you get a chargeback because something was missing, something was broken, because you did not understand the process, because you don't even know how, you barely understand how to ship locally properly, to package it properly. You're sending stuff and you're wondering why it got cracked. You didn't want to spend the money to protect it properly and understand that you want to just, oh, they don't care how they ship it, and that it's not that. You don't even understand that part of it. You don't understand business. You don't understand shipping because you didn't want to learn from the know-it-all. You wanted to just learn from, child, let me shut the hell up because yeah, let me just shut up. Let me just shut up. Let me just shut up. But anyway, I digress and go back to, I truly believe that every person should have a web presence. So the fact that Canva and everyone is like using it, people are using the Canva website. Now, I am one where, again, I still don't like the fact that people are using Canva for their website along with storing all of their designs, because if Canva's server goes down, guess what goes with it? Your website. So you will never, because I know business, of course, I am not saying that it is wrong. Oh, but people ain't got money. They need to start somewhere. And there are still free places. There are free places that you can set up, or inexpensive places that you can set up a website. But to have all of your business resources in one place, bad move. Bad move, bad move, bad move, bad move. But hey, you can set it up there. You can. So when I read it, it's like, okay, I'm thinking they're asking about having their site because you can set it up, having it through there. If I went and set mine up through the Canva one, I got the Canva domain, can I move it? Technically, you can't. Canva is really proprietary. Canva really don't want you to take stuff off of their platform. Their terms and conditions literally state they don't want you to take their elements out and use it in a different program. when it comes to like, they want you to create templates to bring people back to their platform. They don't really want you to create like a PDF or something edible where they can use it in a different program. Unless it's something, of course, like an ebook, because I mean, that's meant for someone just to read and consume. If it's something like a, something where, like it's something finished, you're not supposed to create something that you can then put on Etsy where they can make multiples of it. You're supposed to be the end user of what you create. Most of you guys have never read the terms and conditions of Canva because we typically don't read. Shakia is that person, you know, I like to read the fine print. My husband hates it. We go to places for the kids, baby, I'm reading. I'm at least skimming before. Now ChatGPT, oh, I absolutely love it because I will take a picture of it, summarize this for me. Okay, give me the bullet points of it. My husband hates it. I'm going to read before I put my name on the dotted line. I am not the I just sign, I just agree type person. That's just me. The average person just signs their life away. I've never been that person, which I understand. It bothers some people because I'm that way. I get it. So they go and say that. So I answered. This time I didn't ask any questions. I said, okay, well, technically, you can't, like, they don't allow for full migration to other sites. But if you have, I was like, if you have your domain within another site where you have full control over it, like I said, this is why I recommend that people have their domain through a separate site like SiteGround, Squarespace, GatorHost, GoDaddy. I'm missing one. SiteGround, GatorHost, GoDaddy, Squarespace. I feel like I'm missing one that I normally say. Is it Hootsuite? But it's a couple different places that you can literally get your domain through. You have more control over it. So I literally wrote it just like that. Wrote it just like that. And then someone came and said something about, oh, you can if you have your own domain. Now, her, I'm not worried. I don't think she has a problem with me, whatever, because like we cool or whatever. And I'm like, but that's what I said. And they said something else, and I'm like, that's what I said. And then the other young lady said, oh, somebody else came and said, oh, well, you can do that. I've done it all the time, right? So I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe something changed because Canva is proprietary and you never shoot. And then the person was like, oh, not through the Canva site. I have my own domain. Oh, that's what Shakia said, with your own domain. Then the original poster came back and said, oh, no, I have my own domain. That ain't what was in the original. So the other person going back and forth, whatever. And I'm just like, girl. And then she started ranting on and on about, oh, you this and that. And I'm just like, do you have a problem with me? Do you have a problem with me? That boy is knocked out, knocked the hell out. I just don't get people. I don't get people. I really don't. I just popped in to say that I brought some of your paper a couple of years ago. Wait a minute. Girl, you brought it a couple of years ago and you just used it yesterday? But she says, first brand of sublimation paper to ever wow me. You would use it as we are closing out. So right now, I mean, it's 52% off. I recommend. We are reducing our inventory. We're trying to reduce it by 75%. Versus, so here's the thing that some people, so it says, yes, the paper is everything. I actually just explained this to someone earlier today. It's, so you know how when you see people like dumpster dive, and stores will throw a bunch of stuff away and they will spray paint it, right? And then you'll hear people say stuff like, oh my God, that's so messed up for them to throw all this stuff away. That's a waste. They could have gave it away, blah, 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 blah. Well, that's not really on the story. You got to go to Uncle Sam with that, because this is where people confuse, like when it comes to tax laws, there is a difference between a write-off and a deduction when it comes to taxes. So people will always say, oh, I need something to write off. I need something to write off. No, you need a deduction to reduce your tax liability. If you write something off, that means there's like, it's gone. There's no, it's a loss. If something is a loss, you cannot give it away. It's something that you cannot sell, you can't give it away. It has to be like destroyed. So if a company wants to write something off, it has to be a loss. They have to destroy it. So destroying it is not just throwing it away, because then somebody can technically come and get it. So if they end up spray painting it, it's supposed to deter. Well, some folks don't care because they'll just take it anyway and then like use it or whatever. But them spray painting it is a way of destroying it. So writing it off, you would have to destroy it. So if I was to write off that paper, I cannot even give it away. I would literally have to spray that paper, burn that paper, destroy that paper if I was to write it off. Now, I can basically give it away at a discount, which is why it is at 52%. And we're trying to basically reduce our inventory down, reduce it down to basically get rid of 75% of our inventory. And then after that, we'll just basically have a maintenance one, and we're spending quite a bit of money. We're preparing all of it to send out mailers to all of our existing customers saying, hey, scan this. If you want to be on the list, you need to check your emails. We will basically be doing a sweep. If you're not opening your emails, not clicking on them, literally every 45 days, those who have not checked their emails, clicked on their emails, you're going to be taken off the list and you won't have access to the paper. So like and that's how it's going to be for a couple of months, because I'm working like on other stuff. So if you love the paper, glad to know that you loved it. I can't believe that you waited. I know you're probably kicking yourself in the butt that you waited this long to experience the wonders of honesty. I told y'all it was game-changing paper. So let me ask you a question. Did you use it at the recommended settings of 365, 30 seconds, or like maybe like 40 seconds? Or did you still do 400 degrees, 60 seconds? What did you do with it? So what did you miss? I was talking about someone who I just needed to vent, because I foolishly went back and looked at this post. I think I was kind of like over it. Like I ended up going back to it. And I was just like, girl, I just like, to me, it was giving very much, you don't like me. And it's okay to say that you don't like me. In a post where somebody was like, how can I comment? Well, why am I always commenting on a Canva post when I don't even use Canva? And then basically saying like, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm always giving the wrong advice or something like that. And like, no, I'm not. It's normally right. So yeah, it's me. Because, it's my platform. I can say what the heck I want to say on my platform. So yeah, I just decided to come on and talk about it on my platform. My doctors say it's okay to relax, release. So this is the release part. I finally understand why companies dump perfectly good products. Didn't know they wrote it off. This is why I watch you. Sometimes you just don't know what you need, what you need to know. And that's what I'm saying. When people go and they complain, I'm just like, man, y'all just don't understand business. People don't understand. And I mean, and I always say that, like, I went through the other day what was like, not the other day, like a couple weeks ago, what my background is. And I felt like it was important for people to understand like when I'm speaking from, like where I'm coming from when I'm talking about different things, because I've experienced so many things. Like I always say, the jobs that I've had, they were blessings. Um, when I have crafters come to me saying, oh, I want to have a brick and mortar, I want to have a shop and things like that, I make sure that I talk to them like it's more than just the rent. You might find a space and you're like, okay, ooh, the rent is cool, I can swing that. I worked at PRC, which is a call center. I worked for DirecTV on the commercial side of the business, of the commercial side of DirecTV. Big, greatest blessing, never understood. Now, that job, I'm not gonna say I hated it. I actually loved the job. People very catty there. I've explained this story, like this one girl, like again, when I was a creator and I did all these things. Here I am playing like I Spy, Private Eye. I'm asking all these things about her daughter, like getting all this information. I literally made this beaded bracelet, quality beads too, child. Not like no little cheap little beads. I'm talking quality beads. Had her daughter's birthstone and little charms that represent like stuff that she like, her daughter's name, all this. That lady told me straight up, where on my wish list did you see I wanted some beads on a string? Where is my gift card? Girl, I spent 2 weeks researching this. But she was young and catty. But anywho, that experience there was for this moment when I'm teaching people about business. I don't think people realize that when it comes to having a brick and mortar, girl, you better scan that too. Because see, lately they ain't been scanning it and they make it seem like we ain't been sending y'all packages out. But when it comes to a brick and mortar, for what y'all do, y'all need internet. The price that you pay at home, baby, they don't charge them same rates for a commercial space. Baby, it is definitely double, maybe 50% to double the cost for internet, water, and TV, right? So like if you wanted to be able to have cable in your space so that you can watch television while you are at work, if you have your TV in a public area, right, you are limited to the channels that you are able to have. If it's, girl, you're supposed to scan my thing and give it back. Girl, you must be new. Hold on, y'all. Wait, I'm sorry. 1 second. Yeah. Okay. So if your TV, like, okay, so let's say you have an open shop and you want to be able to watch TV while you're working, you printing stuff out and stuff like that. If your TV is in that area when the technician comes, and let's say technically when customers come in, while they're waiting, they're able to see that, you can't have all the channels because that is now in a public area. You are limited to the number of channels that you are able to have on that television in that area. You are literally going to pay per channel because it's in a public area. Like they have a package that's almost like a residential one, but you can only have that if the TV is in a private area like an office. So you can't just have regular cable, which is why when you go to like the nail salon and things like that, they're limited to certain channels. Like they'll have like local and things like that because that TV is in a public area. So if you want a brick and mortar, it's more than just the rent. You now have to think about your electricity is going to cost you more. The electricity rate is not the same rate as in your house. They charge you more per kilowatt. Your water bill costs more than it does at a residential place. Your internet costs more. Your cable will cost more. And unless you have it in a private area, you are going to be limited on channels. It was so many people who would have like, they would call in, and even if it was like a private like area, because the technician knew it was a business, they would sign up on the residential trying to get like the promo. The technician would come and say, hey, this is a business. And then we would have to basically give them what the rate is. And then people be like, oh, hell no, I'm not paying that, because it is significantly more and they're limited on channels, which is now when people come to me and they're, because I still coach people privately and I have one-on-one sessions, when they're saying they want to move into a brick and mortar, have anyone ever talked to you about the extra cost outside of your rent? Have you quoted and found out how much it's going to cost for X, Y, and Z? And when they go and do that, then it's like, okay, yeah, I think I'm going to stay in my basement a little bit, on my garage a little bit longer. Or this is where, for some, I've helped some people like basically rent out a house, or they'll rent out an apartment building, like an apartment to work from, where it's an apartment where they're just doing work out of it. And before they bring in any of the work stuff, they will set all of that stuff up so that they don't know that there's a business being run out of it. So, so that they can basically save money. But now some of them folk probably gonna listen to this and they're gonna probably incorporate it in their little trainings when they know nothing about this before. I probably should take this down. But see, my experience allows me to teach that. I am very grateful that God allowed, because that was a setup, knowing that I guess one day that I will be teaching entrepreneurs who would never know about this information until it was too late. The things you learn, that's why I look for you when I'm off work, dropping gems. Hey, 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 honey. Unless you are in a space where utilities are included. So if you can find a place like that where utilities are normally, some places will kind of maybe have internet, but you may not want that because they may not have like the best one. And if you're doing, you need it for being on the internet for things like Canva and stuff like that. They may not have like the best internet, but there are some locations where your lights are included, your water is included. So if you're in more like office type buildings, they will be included. But the thing with a lot of those office type buildings is they try to limit the amount of electricity that's being used. So they limit your office hours. So you wouldn't be able to just be in there all types of night, because they want to keep their electricity bill down. So they may have it where active hours for lights may only be until like a certain time. And then they turn the air conditioner off. They turn access to the lights off. You don't have access like on Saturdays and Sundays. Like they may have limited hours on Saturdays, but you can't be in there on Sundays. So you have to be mindful about like the places that you go to. But if you just get like a straight up standalone one, there are certain questions that you need to ask to make sure that it's going to be conducive to how you need to operate. So see, someone says, I was going to rent an apartment just for that until I found my suite. Mine is like that, but I still wish I could fit this equipment back in my house. Yours includes everything because you're not in um, a standalone like brick and mortar. You're also not in like the shop, like in the shopping suites, like yours, you're in a building. Like yours is in one connected building, not a standalone, um, not like a standalone or um like okay. So the building that you're in, all of the ones in that one are connected, but like the stores, like what is that, a barber shop? Like that's a barbershop like outside of you. They're not connected to your building, right? Like they're their own, right? Yeah, yours is like a suite inside of that one. But like the barbershop, that store, like all those others, they would probably be separate and have their own boxes. And then it ends up, yeah, right? And then when did they put a limit? Oh, I know that you had them do some changes for electricity, but did they limit how much changes they would make for electricity, right? So that's why I said you have to check the requirements, because if you have like a lot of equipment and you require a lot of changes for electricity and like depending on how much electrical work, they will limit what all you can bring in because it can become a fire hazard for everyone else. It can cause, if it's drawing too much power on their power grid and it's going to affect their other residents, they'll tell you that you can't. So there is benefits to it where, yeah, it's going to include everything, but they also have a lot more rules when you're doing that. So Anaya says the same thing. She says, mine includes everything also. Do you feel like, well, you don't have, because yours is for your bling, so you probably won't have as much power restrictions. What restrictions did they have on you? So yeah, see, yours is the same way. Like those places were separate. Yours is more of a suite inside. That's why I said you have to go in and really understand all of these different things and what all your requirements are for whether or not a suite is going to work for you, or if you need your own space to where they're not controlling um they're not controlling your electricity, they're not controlling when you can come in and out. And y'all's are more of businesses, they're not offices. So I'm saying like the office buildings one. The ones that are office buildings, they will try and limit and they will turn the air conditioner off on you. And it's kind of weird because we tried to do that. And I was like, that ain't gonna happen, Captain. That ain't gonna work for me. I need to be in there on the weekend. But these are things where I've literally experienced these things from every job that I've had, from me just going in. See, y'all see it as people wasting y'all time, not me. Like I'm going to research. I know, well, they probably saw it too, where I'm going to come in, I'm probably asking a bunch of questions and it's like, whether I go with them or not, like I don't go with the first person. Y'all get upset when someone comes in and they're asking a bunch of questions. There are people that are like me. Like I like to be well informed before I make decisions, especially on big purchases. So I will ask a lot of questions before I sign. I read fine print. And I don't get upset when people, don't immediately go with me. Like they go and they'll ask questions. I am prepared to like answer certain things, whatever. I'll answer it. And hey, I go from there. I don't consider that to be kind of a waste because I know for me, I'm the same way. I'd rather somebody be well informed than I spend time and then like now you want like a refund, this, that, and the third. So that's just me. But anywho, I'm gonna tell y'all now, don't follow me. Okay. Or if you are gonna follow me, I'd rather now, I'd rather it be, I will stop complaining about people not saying anything, not answering questions. And I'm just going to assume that when I have people on and they are not saying anything, that you are people that just don't like me and you are just doing what I ask. You don't like me, you just gonna be in the background and not say anything versus kind of speaking up and, always having something to say. Cause I'm like, hey, look, I'm gonna say what I got to say. I'm gonna be who I am. If I have any type of information, whether you feel like it's the wrong information, it's not I'm going to share. If you put it out there and you ask, if you're in a group, you're asking for help. If I feel like, okay, I have insight on it, I'm going to answer the question. It may not be the answer that you're looking for, and then maybe somebody else can provide it. And then maybe mine is something you can reflect on later. I'm going to be me. If you don't like what I have to say, I suggest you block me if I'm going to show up on your timeline. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I control my own heat now normally you can control your own heat and air, but they will turn it off. I'm in an office building with various businesses. We are not limited on electricity, and the building is 24 hours access. I got lucky in this building, on this building. Oh, that's great, because here in Miami, child, most of these actual office building ones, they limit you. So we have Summation Ink. We just don't have Magenta. Magenta is normally the one that runs out first. So we are out of Magenta. You can get all of the other colors. We're just out on Magenta. During the closeout period, we will not get any more Magenta, but you can get all of the other colors, and you can go to the blank spot if you want to get Magenta. Where you can get ours for 52% off. You just have to pay full price at the blank spot or any other place for Magenta. When we do bring Magenta back, it just won't be on closeout, because that will defeat the purpose to pay full price for it to then offer it at 52% off. When we get down to 75% and we kind of have our maintenance one, we will have Magenta, but that's when it will be basically back at regular price for, just like our VIP list. But yeah, we do have ink. It's just not just no full sets. I mean, it gives me content. Like I said, I spent way too much time being fully monetized. Obviously, like someone said, I don't show as much craft stuff anymore. I have 10 years of craft things. Don't none of this craft stuff change. There is no new way to make chip bags. You take a bag of chips and you wrap a full 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper around it. You add some adhesive to the spine, the top and bottom. You crease it. You crimp it and you cut it. Or if you don't want to crimp it, now people are doing the look. Like, the only thing that might be a little bit different is people are putting the rectangles, the altering color rectangles, to give it the faux crimp look, and then they're cutting it. But it's literally the same way. There's no new way. There's no magic way. There's no faster way. You decide what glue you're going to use. Now, the only thing that is technically different is the technical part of it that we have proven y'all don't care about. I have tried over and over and over and over again to talk to y'all about paper. All paper ain't created equal. I tried to explain the differences in paper and the coatings in paper. I have tried to explain the differences in glue sticks and glue guns and things like that. Y'all don't care about that stuff. You want the cheapest way. Where can I find the cheapest paper? How can I use this Dollar Tree this little small behind glue gun that I'm just pumping and pumping and pumping? Y'all don't care about that. So the way that they are made remains the same. The quality is going to be different. I've tried to explain how to not have, y'all ask the question, how do I not have it bump up? So when I explain, it's the paper, it's the glue and the glue gun. You got to use a high wattage glue gun. You got to use quality glue sticks. Oh, but those cost too much. Don't ask the question then. I can't help you make your cheap glue gun and your cheap glue sticks not harden in 2.5 seconds. There is no hack for that. You asked the question, I gave the answer. If you don't want to buy this, then you are going to get those results. But at the end of the day, you take an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper and you wrap it around some chips. It won't close because in your mind, you think it's a better value to put that big ass bag of chips in between an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. When you need to go get the little bag of chips, I'm not sure why in your mind it's, oh my God, they need to pay me $5, $8 for this bag because do they know how much these chips cost? Do you know you putting a bag that's way too big? Do you know that you're spending way too much money for a bag of chips? And you shouldn't be putting that big behind bag of chips in there? You blaming the customer because you're doing some foolish stuff. I've tried to explain this, but I'm the one that's wrong. I spent 10 years trying to explain these things. Y'all don't care. So I'm done explaining the craft stuff. Then come the pandemic, everybody's in the panic. Oh my God, what am I going to do? I want to learn about the business. I never ended up bankrupt from a business. I've always had businesses that have been successful. I have had businesses that have supplied my lifestyle. My businesses went so great that when the pandemic snatched away my husband's 6-figure job, my husband stayed home for 3 years until he decided, entrepreneur life and doing everything from scratch ain't really for me. It's a little too stressful. Shakia, you like that stressful life. I like the easy life. I'm going back to where it ain't this stressful. But yeah, my business acumen made it to where my husband had a job from going from a 6-figure job and we didn't miss a beat. Okay. So I know a little something about business. So I transitioned. Y'all want to learn about business. Spent 3 years trying to teach y'all about business. But then, world went back to where it was and y'all didn't really care about business like that anymore. All right, yeah, I needed it when the pandemic was here. But now I just want to learn about craft stuff now. Can we go back to crafts? But now I don't really want to go back to full-on crafts because, I don't really do that like that anymore. And I'm sick and tired of making stuff just to make it because I no longer do that. I wanted to teach designing because whether y'all wanted to do it for fun or you want to do it for business, the one thing that remains a constant is y'all got to learn how to design or you got to learn how to edit. So I focus on that. Hell, y'all don't know what the heck y'all want. So now I've spent 10 years building my platform to be fully monetized. I know I can honestly say I now no longer know what the heck y'all want because of Canva, y'all have gone away from wanting to know how to design and y'all just want templates. I'm not a template person. I design, like my business was always like based off of designing what my customers gave to me. I wasn't really a kind of I mean, I do kind of have plug and play, but my plug and play was with Silhouette. If you don't know how to use it, if you don't know how to design, my templates don't really work for you. So now I just use my platform to talk crap and still make money because it's monetized. So if I don't teach crafts, if I don't teach business, if I don't teach design, I got to do something to make my 10 years not in vain. So I get on here and just rant and y'all listen. I actually make more money when I rant because more people watch when I rant. So yeah, I like this better. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The texture in paper it's not the texture, it's the coating on paper. The way paper is made is different. The way that they weave the fibers together to hold ink is different. The coating on the back is different. Using paper that is glossy on both sides is definitely different, especially when you're using glue. But, what do I know? I don't know anything. You just continue what you're doing because you are the professor. Though being the professor offends a lot of people, I guess. They don't like the fact that I'm a Miss Know-It-All. I'm not a type of person either. I prefer making my own so it can be original. Oh, let me tell y'all what was the funniest. Hey, I was just speaking about y'all. Somebody asked me about ink. We're out of magenta. So I told them, they can get our inks, the rest of them on closeout, and they can get the magenta from you. So let me tell y'all the funniest thing I saw yesterday, right? And so this is one of those things where, I talked about where I just take screenshots and send them to my people. So I saw someone, right? Speaking of templates, so they purchased a template, PLR template for a newspaper. So they're trying to sell because it's like, oh, buy my template and you can make money off of it because then you can resell it to your people, right? So Facebook is so messy. So here's this person's post and they showing, like how it's so easy to edit and da 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 da. You can go buy my my template, click on this link, go to my Etsy shop. Why? The post right under that was the original person saying, come get this free template. Because the original person does the whole, they give away the free item to then get to like the bundle where they're gonna upsell the bundle. But when I say it's literally like both posts used the same like example because it comes with like different templates, right? So like let's say like there's a red one, a blue one, an orange one, a yellow one, a purple, whatever. Both use the exact same example. So if I see this same example that's saying, hey, come buy me, but then I see the same example saying, hey, come get me for free. I think I'm going to click on the free one. I was like, dude. And I'm just like, they don't understand how they're being set up for failure because it's not like this person is promoting in their like in a group or in a private location just to their community that, hey, get this for free, and then, like they can upsell the people within their community. They are promoting publicly on the same platform that you're promoting on. And theirs is saying free, 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 free. Now, mind you, you're only going to get one thing for free and they're going to upsell them on the other, but that free is going to be the hook where people are going to click on that. And when a platform like Facebook has no respect of person, Facebook will literally, and because you're paying for advertising and you are when Facebook and the algorithm and that AI sees that exact same picture, it's going to push the other people that are using that. It's gonna, your platform is helping push those because it's picking up on that exact same picture, but it's so messy that it literally put your advertisement right behind them people posts trying to make money. I was like, that it is messy as hell. I cackled so hard. I damn near peed on myself. I was like, that is some messy-ish. That is messy as hell. But to me, it's even more messy for you to advertise your free stuff on the same platforms in the exact same manner, using reels, using posts. You're selling to your students and telling them, okay, you can go and resell it. And they're trying to sell it on these platforms, but your stuff shows up the same way. I think that is jacked up. So that's actually how, when the pandemic started, that's actually how I had this whole thing planned out. To rent a house, to teach it. And then the pandemic happened, and I was like, okay, that won't be happening. Glad I was able to get my money back on it. But that's literally how I had planned on starting doing my craft, creative tours. I want to be able to do another one, but I don't know what people want to learn because I've constantly asked, what is it that people want to learn? I feel like I'm out of touch because I don't use Canva to teach the design part of it. I just felt like I didn't have a place in the creative space anymore. So yeah, I wasn't really sure what to do. Like, I felt like it would have made sense back then. I always felt like I missed my window to do that. Maybe because it's like listening to a podcast about the do's and don'ts of creative design. So if one more person says, like, I don't know, the universe keeps telling me podcast, because see, in my mind, I feel like I need a co-host for a podcast. So I keep avoiding podcasts because I feel like I need a co-host for podcasts. Oh, well, if you're being petty, but no, like I literally, uh, I almost got involved in a group if I didn't think they were God. Wait, they think they were God, and you, professor, was nothing. I left, never looked back. But no, like she's like, I was being a little petty, but no, that's literally what I was going to do. before the pandemic, because again, coming from again a corporate space, you have like short-term rentals, like even before the whole Airbnb thing, having to book short-term rentals and things like that, like knowing that that was like a thing. And I used to want to or like timeshares. My family was big on like, booking timeshares, like when we went to Orlando and stuff like that, and having all of these rooms and like these big like rooms and stuff. So before Airbnbs, there were timeshares, and we would go to Orlando all the time. Like with my grandmother, we do trips and stuff, and we would go to Orlando, we would do those. And then when in the corporate space, when people would book, short-term rentals and stuff like that. So I wanted to be able to book one where, like, in my mind, I would have it booked out every single weekend, like where people would book out. And I wanted it to be where they would have, like, people would come and they wouldn't have to worry about a separate hotel room. They would stay in that location. And we would just learn for the week. They would leave, have somebody come in, clean up, and then like the next set of people come in, and every person would like have like their own room or whatever. Like that was literally how I was planning that out before the pandemic. Although there was Airbnbs like then, but I had been planning that whole thing out in my head for a while based off of my family always using timeshares. Well, when people like you are on, like, but most times my co-hosts don't say anything. Most times, they don't say anything. And it's like pulling teeth to get people to say anything. She's like, no co-hosts. But it's good, like and then also it's like waiting for people to kind of respond back. Sometimes it's good to have a co-host because that's like immediate like banter. So this is nope, no, you don't. You can have the occasional guest, but you would do fine by yourself. I guess I think I feel like I want the co-host because it's like the topics. It will make it easier to keep the conversation going. Because if like I feel I don't want it to be a rant. If I'm not ranting, is it really productive? At least if there is, hold on, y'all. Oh no, that's probably the school telling us about, if they call right back, then I know it's something for MJ. But if it's not, then that was probably they're reminding me about the meeting this afternoon, which I have to turn right back around and go to Zion Imani School. Hopefully Even's back. Yes, my love. Oh, now you're up. Yeah, took a nap. You should have told you went in the house and lay down and went to sleep. But yeah, so I that's my only thing with, like, if someone's there, it's like immediate, like, kind of my voice can take a rest where it doesn't seem like it's like just my voice all the time. Okay, yeah, then that means that it was the automated thing from the school. That's when you're teaching, they're not saying anything. When you're speaking on your topics, your subject, that you have free range of speaking your mind, and we chime in when and whenever we want. Okay, come here.
Yeah. I was in my head when we got back home. Back to us from McDonald's.
Oh, you want?
Yeah, I went to sleep.
You went to sleep. Yeah, you didn't ask for McDonald's. Come on, I think they're gonna give us food at your school when we have to go back. Leave your book bag. Put your book bag right here.
Why?
Because you put it on your back, you're not gonna be able to sit in my lap. Say hi.
Hi.
Ooh, my lips ashy and your lips ashy.
How?
Both our lips ashy. Well, I don't even see no chapstick in here.
But you forgot about them.
Yeah, I know I have mine at my desk, but my lips ashy and your lips ashy. My lips ashy because it's cold.
They put it in here. You check.
The cold air is blowing on my lips, directly on my lips. Nope.
Oh.
Oh, wait, yes, it is.
Oh.
Oh, wait, and this is all melted
Look.
because it was hot.
Wow. But do you feel good?
Ashy lips.
Hmm.
Ashy lips. Ashy lips. Yep, he will be 7 next month.
Ow.
You
I just put it on the glass and the glass is so hot.
It's so hot. Yeah. But it's still, I mean, it would give me a break from talking. Like, I don't know if I want to talk for an hour straight or 45 minutes straight. So having a co-host, and also I don't want it to be like it's my way or the highway, you know, like having someone else also gives a different perspective to things. Unless I'm on with somebody like Stan. Saturday was good. If you didn't watch that one, I was cleaning up Saturday, and it was meant to be kind of like just a chit chat type deal. While I was cleaning up, well, first I did a print and cut, and then I was trying to clean up my room because it was a hot mess. I hadn't cleaned up since I think Valentine's Day, and then someone was like, you know, they were trying to figure out how to make their thing a business, and they were working like their 9 to 5. And so, of course, Shakia speaks with passion, which some people take as me like yelling at them. And sometimes I am. Like one of my mentees today, I had to straight up tell her, like, look, this is now me being straight up coach, and I'm coming at you real. Like, you tripping, da 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 da. Like, when you're paying me to be your coach, I'm definitely not holding your hand. Like, I'm going to tell you based off of what I am observing. You may not like it. You may have to think on it for a little bit, but based off of what I am observing, with you paying me to be your coach, your mentor, your business consultant, this is what I am observing. And this ain't cool, you know, or this ain't good, this ain't cool, this is where this is going to hurt you at. And if you are having me consult because you know that you are not going to make the best decisions for yourself, and you need that tough love, and you need that person on the outside looking in saying, okay, hey, this is what I see. Let's try this. I'm going to come at you like, look, your arse is tripping and you need to get it together. Snap the hell out of it. Okay. But y'all don't pay me for that. And I know sometimes people don't want to kind of hear those things. And so sometimes when people ask questions when I'm live, it's like, okay, I know the one person might ask a question or bring up the topic, but they may not be the only person feeling that way. So when someone, unless it's like a specific, actually not even then, because even if it's a specific thing, it's going to come up for somebody else at some point or another. I feel like nothing is a like one size fits all, like just for like one person or whatever. So I was like, oh, you opened the door, and why isn't my business growing? So baby, I went in, right? And so Stan was like, "Ooh, tap me in, tap me in." Stan and I think alike. He is the male version. I've said that for years. Stan is like the male version, a little rougher. And I'm like, it's so crazy to me because I feel like Stan has said a lot of the things that I think, but I feel like he has been able to say it because he's a dude. Whereas when I say it, it's like people take it the wrong way or they get offended when I say it. But Stan has been able to say these things for years and people don't bat an eye, or like people are in agreement with it, but then let me say it. It's like, it's a problem, or I'm hating on someone. I feel like whenever women say something, it's like this, oh, you got to be hating on this person, blah, 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 blah. I hate that connotation. I hate that. But anywho, now, if it's me and Stan, we think alike. So there's no different perspective. Although when we did have it, he was trying to get a point across. And because I have a strong disdain for a certain person, at first I wasn't trying to hear it, but then I finally did kind of calm down and let him get his point across. And I understood it. And, I did kind of say, but I get it. I can respect the person's hustle. I just don't like how they move. But yeah, so like somebody like that, I can see having a couple sessions. But I think me and Stan together for a straight hour, people would not know how to handle us. People would not know how to handle us. I honestly chime in more when you're just shooting the breeze. I'm more inclined to stop. And that's how most people are, especially if I'm snapping about something. But and I've said that, like, to stop when you're teaching. If it's something I already know, then I'm just listening while I work. A lot rougher. Don't do Stan like that. I listen even if you're teaching something I already know, because there's always a chance you'll teach me something new, but I'm less likely to engage. That's why I said, like, I'm done. Now, they say about pivoting, and I've given 10 years of the teaching part. You literally can go through my archives, and I feel like I have taught things that are timeless, and you're always going to learn from it. I'll do things here and there. I need to start teaching a lot of these things, even though it hasn't changed. It's just that the look of Silhouette Studio is different. So I want to teach from that. I've contemplated on whether or not I want to teach from Canva, but I don't want to really get into that because I don't design. So I feel like I'm not being authentic in teaching like custom designs from Canva, because I don't use it for that. I use it more so for business type things, marketing and stuff like that. And then when it comes to that, I'm like, I don't need to give that away for free. If you want to learn it, I've shown enough that I know what the hell I'm doing. I run a business doing this, and getting to a point where it's like, this is a business for me. And if I'm going to teach it, it's behind a paywall. It's what I teach my Creative Business Accelerator students. They pay to get this. Anybody else can pay to get it. And I don't feel the need to teach Canva freely to prove that I know what I'm talking about. Like, I've done that in other ways. So I don't really feel the need to, I don't need, like, some people need an avenue to start teaching. So they'll start by teaching Canva to show their expertise in something. I don't need to do that. I've shown that. I've demonstrated my expertise. I've demonstrated my knowledge base, my ability to be able to teach. Others need these things because they're getting started. So I was like, yeah, I don't need to go into like full on teaching Canva. I'll show it here and there, but nah. So yeah, I'm not going to teach Canva, and everything else. I'm I'm either going to start redoing a lot of my old videos or just doing content that's going to lead back to it. Hi, do you have replacement ink cartridges with the chips? So no, we stopped selling them for the 7820 and 7840 and the 7310 a long time ago because they were so hit or miss. And, you know, even with the disclaimer that you are taking the risk, because it was so hit or miss, people kept trying to do chargebacks and they would lose every single time when we wouldn't refund them. Because maybe we made sure that y'all knew, and I know what to put on my website to make sure that we're not losing no chargebacks, and they would get mad. So we stopped selling that long time ago. And I don't know if others have followed suit, because we've gotten a lot of that. So I'm not sure if other companies have stopped selling them as well, because it's just that is literally a major headache. I got to a point where I told people, if you're using it for sublimation, yes, it's more expensive, but you would be better off just buying the Epson cartridges, harvesting the chips, and then throwing away the ink cartridges. Because once those chips are off of those ink cartridges, the Epson ones, you can't do anything with them. So you might as well just chuck them and throw them away. But I started advising people to just do that, is just get rid of them after they take the chips off. But that's the best way to do it, because they're too hit or miss. So ready to go in, hide? You ain't have to say it so rough. You ain't have to say it like that. Like, you sick of me. Like, girl, I've been ready to go inside. Ooh, girl. No, there is no chip resetter for that one. There will never be one for it because of the way that Epson made that particular printer. There, you can't what's what I'm looking for? You can't reset it. They can't do it. You pointed out the pros and cons of Canva that most aren't teaching on. That's your niche. You show what's behind the curtain because you're not swayed by sponsors and not hit or miss. So this time around with those particular printers, Epson was constantly changing the firmware, and the chips were programmed based off of the firmware. And if you either got a printer that had a different firmware, or you inadvertently updated the firmware, if your chips had a different firmware, it didn't work on that particular printer. So that's why we say hit or miss. You would get like let's say one set of chips would work. And actually not even say, even if it's a different firmware, because I've had like a batch of chips that were literally all from the same batch. And if I tried to put it on there, they wouldn't read. I don't know if it's like something in programming, but you would literally put it on there, you put it in your printer, and it would show an X. It would not recognize the cartridge whatsoever. So now I'm not even going to say it was a firmware issue, because we literally went and tested every single, like, I'm not saying every single chip. We had a printer. We did not use it. It was literally, we paid all that money for the printer to never use it. Never use it. We used it simply to test chips. That was it. And there were times where we'll put it in there. We'll get the exclamation mark. And okay, we know that it works on this one. We had a 7820 and a 78. No, we had a 7820 and a 7840. We never got the 7310. Or did we have a 7310? No, I think we had a 7320. I'm trying to think. Or did we have all three? I don't remember. But we had those printers and we would test them and they would work. Then we would have some that wouldn't work. and then they would work for us, and then customers would get them, and then they wouldn't read. So it was literally hit or miss. With the discontinued printers and the ones that can't be converted, a lot of people are being priced out of the game. What do you mean that ones that can't be converted? All Epson printers can be converted. There's not one Epson printer that can't be converted. Ranting or teaching yours. Even in my rants, I'm always teaching. Like, that's one thing I cannot help. Because if you listen back to this, even in my ranting, there was teaching in it. I don't rant for no reason. So no, a chip resetter will work on the 7710. That series works with the chip resetter. The chip resetter doesn't work on the new printers, the 7820, 7840, 7310. But the 7710, 7720, 7210, 7610, 7620, 7110. Wait, let me see. 70, yeah. Those, they work. Any of the ones that use the 252 cartridges, the chip resetter works on those. So they all can use third-party cartridges. They're just hit or miss. There's no printer that can't use a third-party cartridge. They're just hit or miss. And so let's say, even if you use a third party, so cartridges, and here's the thing, right? So this is that, here is the nerdy part. Cartridges are not the issue. The chips are. So you can use the cartridge and take the chips off a genuine Epson cartridge because you need the chip. Cartridges will never be the issue, which is why I will always say any printer can be converted, because you can put sublimation ink in a third-party cartridge. And if you don't want to deal with third-party chips, you get genuine Epson cartridges, take the chips off, and put those chips on top on the third-party cartridges, and you can convert it. You will always be able to convert an Epson printer. Okay, come on, let's go in. I'll put my computer. I'll put them on the computer. Up, down. Hopefully your dad is home soon, because I know he's not going to go to the school, and I have to be to your school for data night, your brother's school for data night. Ugh. Then I have my coaching program. Then I still have designs I have to do. Today is going to be a busy day. I have to prep for tomorrow's, and you guys can still join. You still have time to join the Creative Business Accelerator program. It's not too late. I had a little health scare, so the last two intensive days on pricing and profit, which is the day that most of you guys probably want or need anyway, and ordering process and customer service, they have been pushed to the end of the month. We have tomorrow is the review of days 1 through 3. Yes, my lovey. Yes, they came. The mail lady came already. Mommy was sitting here when they came before you went to school. No, before I picked you up from school, I think, or afterwards. I don't know. No, you were here when they came. No, grandma's not here. No, your dad's not here either. Now, I want y'all to know, y'all gonna hear my smoke detector. We are not your typical Black folks that does not change the what that thing called? The battery. I changed it a month ago, even just changed the batteries yesterday. Our smoke detector is connected to our alarm system. It's a Vivid one. The smoke detector is a carbon monoxide detector and it is broken. Okay. So we are not the typical Black folk that don't just change out the battery. So when you hear that little beep in the back, know that it ain't me. The actual smoke detector is broke because it got new batteries yesterday and it's beeping again. Okay. Okay. Got to get that little disclaimer because they make it seem like all Black folks have the little beeping smoke detector. ¿Qué pasó? Sure. Okay. Can y'all hear me? Because I switched to the computer. I'm like, look, we just changed the battery. Okay. Random question. I'm looking for a new printer. A new printer for what exactly? A new printer for what? I'm late to the live. Yeah, I was ranting, child. So you're right on time. If your question is a help question, you're right on time because I've been on for an hour and 46 minutes, and the first hour of this was me just kind of going off. Have you already said how to load? Well, I wouldn't have said that because that's not what this was about. So I definitely would not have said that already in this because no one asked the question. Because the title of this says, "Girl, if you don't like me, just say that." So this was definitely a rant live. So that wouldn't have come up in this because it wasn't like, something like that. So I do have videos on that. So I did talk about this though, because this came up recently, right? This was also one of those situations where this is going to be partly a rant. This is when I just said, even in my rants, you still learn something. So this will be part of the rant. So someone posted this about, someone was like, what can I do to hold my roll of sublimation paper, right? So that it can just feed in. And I'm like, you can't do that. You have to cut, like, you can print, but it has to be like, you have to cut it down to size, right? So, because again, I know how sheet fed printers work. And so basically they told me, shut the hell up, girl. I do da 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 da. I always feed mine in. And I'm like, okay, a sheet fed printer, if there is a paper there, it's going to jam. You cannot. Oh, first, let me ask this question. Which printer do you have? So I'm going to go back to the old me where I'm going to ask questions before I answer, because earlier today I just answered based off of what I know to be true. And I was told I don't know shit basically and shut the hell up. So I'm going to ask this question first before I answer. Ma'am, which printer do you have so that I can answer your question properly or accurately as accurately as I possibly can? Which printer are you using? I'm going to ask that question first. Oh, because baby, excuse me. So your printer is jamming because I was told I didn't know what the hell I was talking about. Oh, because I use an 8550 and a 15. Other person chimed in. I use a 15,000 and I put my roll in my 15,000 all the time and it just print. Oh, that's what I was told. I was told that you can just put it in there and it prints. So that's not true. Oh, that ain't true. It jam, huh?
It jam? It don't. Oh, you can't just put it in there? Oh, maybe maybe that's not the problem. Maybe they should have just said it jams, because see, for me, maybe that's the part they didn't like, because mine continues to just run. So if I like, because I have the workforces, if you just put the paper in there and then print, and it gets to the end of your print, it's just gonna keep on printing and 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 printing until it gets to the end of the row, and you have to cut that sucker off. Okay, that's been my experience with the printers that I have, because it's a roll-fed printer. It doesn't have a stopping point. It doesn't. It's if it, since it's paper, it's going to continue to print. It's going to continue to feed that until because it has an end of print sensor. That's how all of them work. That's how they all work. So I was told that ain't how they work. Oh, well, I was told to shut the hell up because I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Okay, my bad. Now I can properly answer it. Okay. So a couple of things here. One, now I'm gonna be serious. Oh, Jesus. Okay, a couple of things. No, for real, for real. One, all papers aren't created equal, right? So the brand of paper that you're using is going to make a big difference. The thinner papers tend to get jammed a lot. Also, the more, and especially if they curl a lot, they will jam. The 15,000 is also notorious for jamming. Just as a printer, a lot of times, even with the regular papers, that was a set of printers that Epson really made really badly. Those printers jam like crazy, even with like sheet fed papers, which is why, it was one that I never really recommended. And then, I get my 15,000 work perfectly, girl. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry. I know in your little world, you just went off of your printer, but I am someone that people come to daily with these issues. And I hear from people every single day in and day out, on issues with this, and I have to troubleshoot these. And I have come to the conclusion that the 15,000 was a printer that was crap. The same way that the Cameo 3 was a machine that was crap. There was Cameo 3s that had major issues with the rollers that Silhouette never addressed. Yes, the rest of them are great. There was a batch of them that was great, but there's also a great number of Cameo 3s that were absolutely crap. Like, that was a reality for people. 15,000 was the same way. But all papers are not created equal. Some of them are really, really thin. Some papers are horrid when it comes to the rolls. So you may end up having to change out your paper. So it may be like the roll, you may have to try it. And it's like, it does suck because these rolls are not, cheap, kind of, sort of. And it sucks because these rolls are normally huge, anywhere from 100 feet to 300 feet. And you would hate to feel like, damn, I'm wasting all of this paper. Trust me, I know, like, I have large rolls that I basically just use as like blowout paper at this point. So a couple of things that you can do. One, you cannot feed the entire roll. That's number one. You have to cut it down to size. The 8550, the only reason why I can see where someone might be kind of getting away with feeding the kind of like the whole roll is because the 8550 can print up to 86 inches long. So it's not looking for the end of something until 86 inches long, whereas all the other printers print up to 47 inches long. That's the max length. So you can cut your paper up to 47 inches long. That's going to be the first thing. Once you cut it, you want to roll it in the opposite direction. So it's going to naturally curve. And with the 15,000 or whenever you're using any rear feed, because of how you're loading it in, it's going to curve. That's going to cause a jam. It's not going to really, like, as long as you're putting it on thick envelope, you want to take it and you want to curl it back. So I'll show you what I mean. So the front side, when you're taking off the roll, is the print side. Let me grab some scissors. How about where my scissors? And why you not where you supposed to? Oh, boy. This is the print side. So you see how this is curving down, right? If you just put this in your printer, it's curving away from the catch for the printer to catch it. Even if you try and slide, you put it down in there. One, don't ever cut this with just scissors, because 9 times out of 10, you are not cutting this straight. You want to either use a T-square or a self-healing mat and a ruler to ensure that it's cut straight. You cannot take a chance of just cutting this with scissors. And because this, I cut it straight down, but I can tell that it's not straight. If it's not straight and it doesn't catch, it's going to jam. It is going to jam. Okay. Actually, it's a good thing. You know what? I owe my husband an apology. You know what, God? I owe my husband an apology, because look at how you just worked this thing out in his favor. Because I was about to fuss at him again because it's still not up on the wall. This is something that I got specifically for, I have 2 of them and neither one of them are up. Okay. I got one for my butcher paper and one for my sublimation paper. Neither one of them up. So this right here goes on the wall. Your roll goes on this. And this goes on the wall. Right? And it sits flat. So when you put it behind it, you'll be able to pull it to a certain length and then run it across it to cut it. Or because now you got to make sure you use a level to make sure it's straight, or you can use a straight blade. And when you're cutting it, make sure the blade goes right up against it and cut it so that it's straight. Either that or have a self-healing mat and a ruler and cut it. If it is not straight, you're going to catch hell. I'm telling y'all right now, you will catch hell. Okay? But once you cut it straight, you have to roll it back on itself. So you'll take this and just do this. Just a little bit. And just go back and forth like this. Kind of pump it a little bit. It's going to make that curve this way so that it can catch. that will keep it from jamming. Okay. That will keep it from jamming. So that's the difference. See, now it's coming this way, whereas before it was curving the opposite direction. But you know, what do I know? I'm just a know-it-all. I don't know what you're asking me for, because I'm a know-it-all. I think I know everything. You know, why I got to answer every question? What do I know? You know, maybe it won't work because I don't know what I'm talking about. So it may not work because I don't know what I'm talking about. But if it does, let me know. Okay, no, I mean, if you're still here, I get that you have the 7720, but people use it for different things. So you're saying you're looking for a new printer. Some people use it for sublimation. Some people use it as a regular printer. What are you using it for and looking for a new printer? Also, the next question would be question would be what's your budget? How much are you looking to spend on a printer? Do you want it to be cartridge based? Do you want it to be EcoTank or a tank based? I just had some pressure in my chest on Thursday. I only luckily, I mean, oh wow, you spent 9 days. I only had to spend a day in the hospital. I'm glad you are doing better. Yes, the 15,000 definitely was a printer that clogged a lot. The lines backed up a lot. They got a lot of air clogs, like a lot, no matter what. Their regular ink, pigment ink, sublimation ink, eco solvent ink, it didn't matter what ink was in that printer. The 15,000s clogged, and it's not like people's always make it seem like it was like the ink, like it wasn't the ink clogging up. It's what's called an air clog, like the ink would backflow. So because of the air gap, it wouldn't flow. It wasn't a buildup of ink in the print head, but once it got air in the line, the ink would not flow. I'm wanting to use it for regular printing, party favors like that. It doesn't really matter. I just want it to be reliable. I'm not sure if what I'm printing from the Epson, sure if it's what I'm printing from the Epson iPrint. What do you print from? If you're using your cell phone, I don't use my cell phone to print. I just don't trust those prints. So you're never going to get the full, you don't have like full control. Epson iPrint really was not meant for printing like full graphics, like photos. Yes, kind of, sort of. Like if you're just printing to like photo paper, and that's printing like your 4x6, your 8x10s and things like that, because those are really all the settings that you're going to get on there, and it's printing it more like a photo, or it's just printing out, like an 8x10 document, things like that. But when you need to be able to print in the different sizes, you need to be able to print premium matte for like party favors. It's not really good printing from your phone. You definitely need a computer because you want to have those drivers. You want to be able to print from a program. You know, with like professional printers, they want to be able to print from a RIP software. But with these type of printers, you want to at least be able to have the drivers. So I personally don't print anything from my cell phone unless I'm printing out, you know, to my thermal printer for shipping labels and things of that nature. If I had, so I'm going to just go off of, if I had to go to the store to buy a printer right now, you guys know I am a pigment ink kind of girl when it comes to regular prints. If I don't do a laser, right? Or a toner printer. And even with that, like I like it for certain things. I'm not a toner printer is, you know, the be all, the end all of be all, because for certain colors and certain effects, an inkjet printer and the way that it prints out just works better. And there are printers like commercialized ones, but for at home, I am a pigment ink girly. That's the printer I prefer. Do I have a dye-based printer? Yes, I have a Canon one. It works well for certain like sticker papers that are waterproof. For photo papers, there are some that are kind of like waterproof, some photo paper ones, but yeah, I prefer the pigment ink printer. And only if I'm printing to like a sticker paper will I use my dye base, or if I'm just printing out stuff like as a prototype just to test things, stuff like that, because dye based ink is not water resistant. It will run. If I had to go out and buy a printer today, it is $1,000 printer, but it's the only printer that I am willing to spend my money on because it fits all of the needs and requirements that I have for a printer. And that's why I'm always going over, you know, knowing what you need in a printer because everyone has different preferences. So for me, it would be the Epson 16600. Although I'm not a big fan of EcoTank printers, I can't stand Epson's cartridge-based printer. I prefer cartridge-based printers because they are easier to maintain. If something goes wrong, the maintenance on them, whole lot easier than any type of tank-based printer. But Epson doesn't have a viable cartridge-based printer right now, like on the market. So if I had to go out and buy a printer for party favors, invitation, stickers, labels, things like that, like just regular prints, it would be an Epson ET 16600. It is $1,000 printer. That's the only printer that I personally would purchase. I called them to get my replacement and they swore it was not the original ink. I took it apart, but I'm gonna flush it. So wait, what ink did you put? Was it the original ink or did you have sublimation ink in it? Yeah, and that's basically what they said was it was the stress level, which I didn't like. For me, it's like my normal life, so I don't feel like it's stress. But it is like it is stress. It's what I feel like. I guess it's manageable stress, or I don't describe it, but like to me, it's not stress. But my doctors were like, "Girl, it's stress." um, so it's not like that stress, like when I'm like, "Oh my god," you know, like that. But I was taking on a lot. Yeah, so like I have a lot. It's just that I have a lot going on. I have a brand new company that I'm starting. I have my creative business accelerator program. I have new um business consultants, like the new people that I'm doing business consulting for and mentoring for. Um, I'm kind of sort of back into doing more custom. Well, I'm forced to. People are contacting more. I'm not advertising at all. And lately, I've had so many requests for custom things, especially with grad season, because that's really when I'm doing a lot of custom stuff. Because your girl just bomb.com, and people because I put my QR code on everything. So when people are out and about, I guess people literally took pictures of it or took the QR codes and they will save it. And they will tell me like, hey, I got this from 2 years ago, a year ago. I saved your information. My baby's about to graduate. Like and y'all think that it doesn't work or someone won't remember you. I literally, like, I can show you the text 2 years ago, a year ago, someone had their fan at this graduation. Now my baby's graduating. My niece graduated last year. Her best friend remembered like her fans, and now she wants them for her graduation this year. Like, people remember. Okay, so I had Eco Rush ink in it. So that's what you had the Eco Solvent. You had the Eco Solvent ink in it. So you say Eco Rush, that was the Eco Solvent ink. That one is a little bit harder because that looks, now how they probably didn't know was because of, the yellow ink looks a little bit different, but if you had the Eco Rush Eco Solvent ink in it, that looks like dye. Now, if you had sublimation ink in it, oh baby, they can tell because it looks nothing like their ink. And I'm not going to go into that, but I've explained that before. They know when they look at the tanks, they absolutely know. But normally with the Eco Solvent ink, it looks closer to dye-based ink. The yellow looks a little bit different. So maybe they knew from that. It's slightly different, but not normally what they can tell like just by looking, because they know like when it comes, this is why Epson prefers the Eco Tank and they're pushing those because they can tell. Like whenever you call for customers, they'll have you take a picture of the window and then send them a picture. And they will know immediately if you have a different ink in it, and then they don't have to answer any questions, service you. They don't have to provide any support because you have a different ink in it, which is why they push the Eco Tanks more, because just with one simple picture, they can tell if they can help you or not. The 16600 is a pigment ink printer. So it's not a matter of it's good to, it is a pigment ink printer. So you can use their pigment ink. And then if you want to use a third-party pigment ink afterwards, they won't even know because it is a pigment ink printer. Yeah, see, that was that whole trend where, people kind of jumped on that. And it was this thing where, oh, yeah, convert this, use it. And I'm just like, no, people, no, don't do it. And so I tried to do the Canon one and it didn't like work, whatever, because this was me trying to these people, Shaquille, you have to, like, this is what they want to do. Get the crafters what they want. They're not going to watch you. They're going to watch other people. Like, they want the hacks. They want the hacks. And I regret that so bad. And it's like, you don't really want to say, if you're behind, can't afford a rolling, then order you some transfers. It worked for I mean, if you really look at it, how many people, from that little time, like, how many videos you really see of people really, really still using those printers for eco-solvent prints? Like, can you go and you're seeing recent videos of people using that? Do you see people promoting the Eco Rush and this, that, and the third? Like, you don't see a whole lot of videos. You don't see a whole lot of TikTok videos of people kind of showing that and doing those like transfers. It was like this fad. I'm even going to call it a trend. That was a fad, and it quickly fizzled out because it just wasn't sustainable. It's not. I mean, it just wasn't worth it to try, kind of like really do those for those eco-solvent prints. And that's, when people just kind of fell into the those hacks. Some things work, using the Epson printers for sublimation is different than trying to do the eco-solvent prints for the transfers. So yeah, DTF and eco-solvent, though, they're totally different. Yeah, so sublimation, totally different. That series of printers was the best. I still have one more 7720, and I try to preserve those printers. Like, if I have to, once those don't work anymore, I will be on the fence between getting an F570, because I don't really need a 24-inch printer. I don't do sublimation on a large scale. I mean, to know me is to know that I like team small for sublimation. I have no desire to do all over shirts. I have no desire to do large format things. I like sublimation for smaller items. And using a large format printer, although yes, it's like, okay, I can print more on it, I don't have a large format heat press. I have a 16 by 20. So 13 by 19 works really well. If I had a 24-inch print, I'm still going to have to cut that down, or I'm only going to be able to go up to 19, because I don't like to go 20 inches, because the edges of any heat press, even for the Hottronics, you never want to really go all the way to the edge for sublimation, because it's always going to be a little bit off, and you would want to repress anything that goes to the edge. So using 13 by 19 paper gives me a 1/2 inch on both sides, which is like, that's perfect, right? So 24-inch would be overkill. I would just need something that allows me to print 13 by 19, and I prefer team small. So I'm like, do I really want a F570 just to still print 13 by 19? I don't, it'd be rare that I'll use the roll to roll, like use the roll, or would I just get a 16600 and convert? So I'm kind of like on the fence about it. But the 77 series, 76 series, best ones for sublimation, hands down. I never liked the 15,000, never liked the 8550 because the colors are off. Never liked any of the Eco tanks other than like the 16600. I would like to get a new printer. Also looked on the Epson site, and the ET1600 reviews are bad. Maybe user error. Do you have time to take a look? Let me go see what they're saying. Hold on. Epson ET16616. 600. I wish it were a group for advanced crafters so you can just share your work without being bombarded with basic questions that have been addressed a million times already. Just admire other I mean, that's really unrealistic because advanced crafters don't post. Like, I mean, in all reality, what would be the purpose? Because a lot of times they don't really ask questions. Like, it will be a group like where you're just kind of, I guess, waiting. Like, it won't be a lot of questions in it. They don't really share a whole lot. Like, they're just kind of like, a lot of the advanced crafters just kind of sit in the background. So what would this group be for? And on a sharing level, you get to a point to where when you're at that level, you aren't really trying to share a whole lot of for free if you're not really, like, what are you getting out of it? Like, so it doesn't really work. Groups, like a Facebook group, is really meant for people who are beginners. If you want to be in a more advanced space, it normally comes with a price tag, and it's not really for craft. Like, it's not meant for crafters. Like, at that point, you would be in a business, like, you need to be in a network of business people where you're talking about things on an advanced like level, where you're really looking to spend some money on more advanced equipment, things of that nature. And most people aren't just going to give that information out like all willy-nilly. That's when you're like maybe in some, you probably paid into a class and you're now in a network with people who also paid to learn about that. But just in a free Facebook group, you're really not going to find that, because that's, free groups is for free information, and free information is normally appealing to beginners because they money short. Those who are thriving and they're making money and they're more advanced, you should be looking to pay to be a part of networks. All right. Let's present, share screen. Okay. So, I mean, I see, okay, so a couple of 1-stars. So let's go straight to the 1-star reviews. There seems to be 14 of these 1-star reviews. I brought this printer over a year ago. It's absolutely the worst printer I've had in my 30 plus years of using a printer, getting an update almost every other month, and still the printer prints erratically. Now it no longer prints color. My very first printer with Epson line printer, it was fabulous. What happened, Epson? I mean, it's not really telling what happened with this, so can't really tell. After seeing the 1-star reviews and repeated problems that Epson is not addressing, but instead condescending to the printer, telling them sorry for your question, I decided to avoid Epson. If Epson support sucks, so okay, they didn't even buy the printer. They said, I'm not going to buy it because if the support sucks, I'm not going to buy the printer. So this is a stupid 1-star review. Because wait, be careful what you buy. I will agree that you will save ink because the printer does not always print for one reason or another. For a $1,000 printer, it is the most temperamental piece of machinery that you can experience. Try to print. It tells you that there is no paper in the tray, or the paper is not the correct size, or the printer is busy. It jams all the time. It's just one user. It's one error message after another. To complete a rush project, I had to buy another $300 printer, 11th hour. However, I must admit it will save you money on ink. So with this, this ends up being an issue for like a lot of people because they don't understand how it works. Now, this one, I have several people that have, you know, like in South Florida that has it, and they don't experience like a lot of jams and things with it. Or when they do experience jams, it's because see, like they actually have their bottom tray out, but so many people would try to keep it closed and don't realize the only time you can keep the tray closed is if you're using 8.5 by 11 paper. So they will put longer paper in it, and then they're trying to close it or whatever, and they're smushing it. And then, of course, you now get a paper jam. So it's going to tell you it's not the correct size. It's meant to do that. If you're going to get a paper mismatch. Paper mismatches come if it's the paper size. If you go and change from plain paper to satin paper to plain paper to premium paper to glossy paper, you're going to get a paper mismatch. Anything that changes, it's going to trigger that. If you put your paper in one tray, so let's say you want to print photo glossy and you put your photo glossy in tray 1, right? Well, no, let's say you put it in tray 2 because you had a different paper in tray 1. Well, premium settings only print from tray 1. So that most likely is user error. And these are things that you have to know this about it. So they're getting a bad rep for this is how these printers work. So I don't really take that as something being wrong with the printer. It's just not understanding how a printer works. When you are working with a printer that has 2 trays and a rear feed, it can be kind of overwhelming. So most people are used to working with a single feed and it just prints out. If you're looking for that, then, just using it, like if you're not wanting to deal with paper mismatch and like all those things, well, I will say you get a paper with Epson printers, you get a paper mismatch printing from the rear feed. Even with like the ET 2800s, all those, if you print premium matte versus plain paper, you're still going to get like the paper mismatch, but you don't have to worry about like, oh, this tray, that tray, blah, 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 blah. Like it's in the wrong spot, like looking for it from a different tray or whatever. And then also with Epson, people get confused with cassette and tray and like rear feed and all of that. So that part, I can understand it being confusing and why they would get a bad review. But that's not really in any functionality of it. It's just them not understanding how the printer works. I brought it in January. It broke in August because I brought an Amazon, would not honor my warranty. My error code was blah, blah. Apparently it has something to do with the scanner that was never used. Now, it's not to say that these printers don't have manufacturer like errors. This is kind of weird in that that Epson wouldn't honor the warranty because it should still fall under the 1-year warranty, to where they should have still gotten a refurbished one. So this is not like, this is bad on Epson's part, but this happens where errors happen. Like it with anything, it can be an issue on the product, the production line. Things can go bad, like out of the blue. So this is something that for me, anything in technology, this is to be like expected. So I don't really consider that to be like, oh, this is a problem with like all of the printers. That's just what it is. 1,000% without even reading this. Oh, baby, I can tell you workforce printers are 1,000% better. I have always said that. Now let's see see, as a workforce person, I already know I'm probably going to be completely frustrated with the printer. I probably am, because I'm a workforce girl. I prefer cartridge-based printers all day, every day. But because and I've said it, they do not have a viable cartridge-based printer. There is no option. So the only reason why this becomes an option is because it's wide format and it is the only pigment ink option that they have. I tried their workforce option. It prints much slower. The black pigment ink sucks. I hate that whole little, I can't stand the workforce. I hate those long cartridges. It just sucks. I just hate it. I hate it. I hate it. The new workforce option. There is no viable workforce option, cartridge-based workforce or any other pigment ink option that has 2 trays. There is no other option. This is the only double tray, wide format pigment ink option. So let's see what they have to say. Like others on here, someone says the worst printer I've ever brought doesn't print properly at the 11x14 size. So they're trying to print a weird size. So I don't know. That could be something. 11x14 is a very weird size. Epson told me it's my fault. Missing dots and areas of ink on the printer. That was my 45 days in my that was my 45 days in my possession as a brand new. So Staples replaced it, but still doing the exact same, missing ink on 11x14. By the way, the color of brown is not the same. The color of brown is not the same as black. My black background on my picture is not black. And this is because this Epson printer doesn't print colors properly. I print the same picture on a Canon at a local library and it matched the Adobe Photoshop file exactly. Now, I'll say this. I ain't plan on using their inks. When I do get it, I do plan on putting Honestly Speaking ink in it because I learned from the Epson, what this thing is, the 7820, their pigment ink, their black pigment ink sucks. So I don't plan on using their ink. I do plan on putting Honestly Speaking ink in there. So with the ink situation, I don't plan on having that issue because I don't plan on using their ink anyway. So I don't plan on having that issue. I can't speak to that. Now, I said I was using the printer. I ain't say nothing about using that ink because I will be using Honestly Speaking ink. So, okay, it might be the size of the poster board, but just like, okay, here's the thing. I get that's the size of a poster board, but when the fact that it says it's missing ink and you had 2 different printers do the same thing, that tells me this was completely user error. Depending on where they were printing from, they most likely did not set their print page up correctly. That's what that is telling me. And this is what's hard about reviews because people use kind of like they write this quick review. It doesn't say what program they were printing from. Were they printing from a phone? What did they design in? Did they design it in Canva? Did they design it in a regular program? Was it set up for 11x4? Like, was design set up for that? Did they set it as user defined for 11x17? Where was it missing at? Did they set, okay, because if you set it up, so if they set it up for 11x17, because that is a standard size paper, right? If they set their design page up for 11x17, but they were only printing for 11x14, yeah, they're going to be missing shit because it's going to get cut off because you set it up for 11x17. It's not enough information. So like, that's what would be kind of hard for me when it comes to some of these reviews, because a lot of this reads, you don't know what the freak you're doing. So that's that. right. What do you mean? We have pigment ink. Let me see. I'm showing we have full sets available for pigment ink. And let's see. Is it showing that the single ones are out of stock? Let's see. But yeah, full sets, they are definitely showing. Now, if you're talking about like quick start kits or DIY kits, we're not doing the cartridges in anytime soon. But ink, we have ink. But if you're looking for like the kits, then that one, no. But no, yeah, I'm showing all ink is available. It's just the kits and the bundles, because those involve cartridges and chip resetters. But ink is definitely on the website. Let's see here. Someone gifted me a white toner printer. I'm having a hard time finding paper for it. So that paper is ready, like it's available. So you just can't find it in stock anywhere? Or when you say having a hard time finding paper for it, which paper? For shirts, for hard surface, or is it the price of it? Because it is very expensive. If you're looking like the ones for shirts, the A and B paper is not cheap at all. It is quite expensive. But yeah, when you say having a hard time finding paper, what brand are you looking for? And that's not something that you typically, and where are you looking for it at? Because it's not something that you're going to find like on Amazon. You're normally having to order them from the vendors and things like that, because they're kind of pricing and they're like proprietary. True, I get called a gatekeeper all the time. I just like to admire other people's work. I don't have any questions. So yeah, it's like, what's going to be in the group? You like to admire other people's work. So if you're not posting yours, what we in the group for? So yeah, advanced crafters don't post. They tell you to go to YouTube. They do tell you to go to YouTube. I read reviews at a glance at a few 1 stars, but since you said you like to read, I don't. I was hoping you wouldn't mind. Thanks for checking it out. I hate that my 7720 prints so slow. My workforce is a workhorse. It's just slow as can be. It's dropping black ink at the end of prints out of nowhere. Because you're using it as a pigment ink printer and you're printing premium matte. Papa, go let your brother in. Zani Mani. Hold on, y'all. I gotta let NJ in. Zani Mani. Where the hell are you? Zani Mani. Zani Mani. In the bathroom? Where are you? Zani Mani. What the heck? In the bathroom? I don't know. That's probably where you get the time. Zani Mani. Yeah. Okay, no, I was just checking where you were at. Where you was at? I don't know. Where you at? Okay. So I would recommend, I'm not sure if you're the one that posted in the group. If you have, now I was just seeing where you were at, because I told you to open the door for your brother, but you didn't answer me. I was just seeing where you were at. When that happens, if you haven't changed out your cartridge in a while, they don't last always. You have to change them out, which is why, for so long, I've always said you should not be using the same cartridge over and over and over again. I've always shared, what I do with my cartridges, that I have, 2 to 3 sets. When one goes out, I have a set ready to go. I put that one in, and then I take the other one, I top it off, I reset them all, put them in the bin, and then, I put it at the end, and I just rotate them so that I'm not utilizing the same one over and over and over again. Because as you're taking it out, putting it back in, taking it out, putting it back in, you're weakening that little plunger that goes up and down. You're weakening that, and the ink will start to just pour out, because because you have to remember, cartridges are not meant to be used over and over and over again. The cartridges are meant, like traditional cartridges are meant to be used. You take them out, you throw them away. So what you're putting them in, out, in and 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 out. It's a lot of wear and tear. So I've said many, many years ago, even before I had my own brand of ink, to rotate them. So if you have not changed yours out in a while, it would behoove you to go ahead and get a new set. We don't have any. Go to Amazon, get a new set, and see if that corrects the issue of the ink. Now, when it comes to how it prints, premium matte, when you're using that setting for sublimation, this is why I don't, using our paper, you're going to get full saturation. Using plain paper, bright white set to the highest setting, it's going to print out faster. But when you're using it for regular print and you're using those higher settings, it's going to print slower, because it's putting down at least 4 layers of ink as it's going over the print. So it's going to take longer to print when you're doing it, that way. And that's going to really be for any printer. It will take a little bit longer to print when you're printing on these higher print settings. The only other way to have it print faster is to get a laser printer. Yes, you can use our ink. Yep, no chip reset or no cartridges. Yeah, so glossy photo paper is still a premium setting, where it's not just printing one layer of ink. It's printing multiple layers of ink. It goes over the same section about 4 times before it's like moving on. Any of the premium selections go over the same areas multiple times. That's where that higher resolution comes in at. And it's putting that ink really, really close together to give you the best possible print resolution. So the best thing to do is for printing slow, can't do anything about that. You're using photo glossy or premium matte, it's going to print that way. Even when I'm using glossy photo paper, I typically tend to still use photo matte. Excuse me. I'm not photo matte. I said photo matte, premium presentation paper matte. But for the ink spilling out, it is time for you to get new sets. If you haven't ordered them yet, I don't know what you're waiting on. Go to Amazon, get you a new set, because we don't have any. Get you 2 sets, actually. But the 16600 won't print any faster. It has literally the same print speed. The 16650 prints literally 1, maybe 2 pages faster, which means it will print out. It may print out like 1 minute faster, but it's still going to print out slow when using premium matte and glossy photo. But you'll pay $130 more to print 1 minute faster. Your dad isn't here, but I got to go to data night at Zion Imani school, so I'm about to leave. And then I got to go to your school. Data night. Yep. Same thing. No, we don't have any. That's why I said you got to go to Amazon. We don't have any. With Zion Imani. Mm-hmm. Your brother? Now I'm about to leave.
What do you mean by data like?
Going over test results, like all the rest of that crap, and
Like my summer test results?
no, I think like we did last time for the school and all the rest of that. I don't. Well, you know, I don't even care when it's stuff for the school. I actually take my behind to the school. So. So I gotta go. Literally, both of y'all same darn day. So I gotta
have an incredible afternoon.
So yeah, I'm about to wrap up with them so that I can go to both schools. So I will see y'all sometime tonight, child. Literally going from school to school. All right, last call for questions. We've been on for almost 3 hours. The first part of this was definitely a rant, but y'all actually asked questions to like afterwards. So maybe I should start with rants to get y'all to ask questions. Maybe I should start off with rants from now on. Whew. All right. Until next time, have a great one. Continue to unlock your creativity and be incredible. Peace.
First of all, why do I come back?
Ah, hold on.